Welcome back to the OKC Foodcast. This is episode 3, and you're back again with Nabil
and Ashley.
And joining us again this week is our good friend Gabe, who has now graduated from the special guest category to a contributing host of the podcast. Because he, that's right, woo. That sounded fake, but it wasn't. It's real excitement.
My woo meter is low.
Sorry, Gabe. He's going to be joining us with his insight into the food world, and can't wait to get into it. We're going to be talking about trends that you see in your food coming up in 2019 and beyond. And you might already see some of this. You might be partaking in some of this. You might be the cause of some of this. Not saying that it's bad, but these are the trends that we're seeing with our food. So before that, let's talk about our Eat of the Week. Ashley?
All right. So the best thing I had this week, I made a big lunch for my mom for her birthday. The whole family was there. And I made a huge thing of chicken carbonara. Also a really big Italian salad with all the fixings. And I made a Boston cream pie. So it's not just one, it was that meal would be my favorite meal of the week.
Oh, that sounds good.
It does.
Yeah. The chicken carbonara was on point. It wasn't, I guess, your traditional. I added mushrooms to it, but also had pancetta and peas. It was amazing.
I think we need to institute a new policy on the podcast.
Bring
if
food.
you talk about food that you've made, you're bringing it to the podcast.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
Carbonara is one of my favorite pastas, and that sounds phenomenal.
It was really good. Really good.
Did you hand make that pasta?
No. I did buy the noodles. I did buy the noodles, but I did make everything else from scratch.
You know, that's one of my things I think that I've set as a goal for, I want to say 2019, but really I want to say earlier than that because I want to do this earlier than the end of the year, is make my own pasta.
Yeah.
Well, I can help with that.
Oh, I would love to make my own pasta.
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah. I've been to this, I guess it was an Asian restaurant in Houston, and the guy was like making the noodles like in the windows, like with his fingers, like pulling his hands apart, making these noodles, and then he drops it in the pot. And that was like a dream. Like, I want to make those noodles.
Like one of my dreams, and I say this dreams like it's like something that I'm going to achieve in my lifetime, is making ramen from scratch, like 100% from scratch.
Yes.
Broth, pasta, maybe not grow my own pork or chicken, but make it from scratch. I think that'd be awesome.
I'll definitely tell you the noodles are a little bit more tasking. The broth, you can stage that over a period of 1 to 3 days, depending on how flavorful or how rich you want that broth. Personally, I make a I would say it's good tonkotsu pork ramen. And the broth does take a minimum of 2.5 days, and it is very much so worth it. The katsuobushi or the fermented bonito that goes into it is delicious, has a nice smoky flavor. Roasted pork bones, chicken bones, it all culminates in this amazing, delicious, flavorful broth, and you see why these restaurants have such a good reputation when they make a good bowl of ramen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Ramen is so
I'm so hungry.
It's so comforting. It's so
It
good.
is.
It is.
I could eat ramen every day.
That reminds me of, I'm a huge YouTube junkie, and I watch a lot of cooking stuff on YouTube. I watch a lot of dance choreography stuff on YouTube. There's this channel, Alex French Guy Cooking. The person's name is Alex, and he does this whole series on how to make instant ramen, because he talks about how he loves instant ramen. So he made his own instant ramen from scratch, made his noodles, made his broth, and came up with different ways on how to make it instant. Isn't that
Nice.
interesting?
That is
Yeah,
interesting.
That's
How does he make it instant?
But so he made like a big batch of noodles, and then he flash cooked them and then dried them.
Okay.
And so next time when he needs to use this, he just like with instant ramen, you put it in a pot, you put hot water, and you're good to go.
I'm not a big fan of instant ramen. I like the restaurant ramen.
But if you make it his way, it's probably like fresh-ish. And then he made broth, and he froze it in ice cubes.
Yeah.
And he just
Now, I
popped
have
those in
done
and-
that.
Like, because it was concentrated broth, so when you put that in with the hot water, it just it looked like an amazing ramen. I didn't
Right.
eat it, but that's an interesting way. If you want to make broth, you can make it and then keep some for a long time.
Absolutely. It's very it's kind of a chef thing. So if we're in the industry and say we're doing a chicken dish and we get several chickens and we're getting them in whole form or the whole chicken form, we're doing that to save money. So we're going to break down the chickens ourselves. We have a lot of chicken carcasses we have no idea what to do with. So we make them into chicken broth and we will set those in the freezer and freeze them until we need chicken broth for our dishes. So that same ideology would apply to that ramen broth. If he wants to make ramen in bulk for a later day or say a rainy day or whatever you want to call it, he can make that broth and freeze them in small segments or portions so that he can thaw it a small amount at a time to make those bowls. That part I think is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because you're avoiding using a lot of the preservatives that go into the actual powder of the broth as well, which will change the flavor.
That's exactly what I was going to say. My youngest nephew, he is a very, very picky eater, but he loves noodles. So instead of using the packet of the seasoning for the instant ramen, every time I make soup, I will puree it and then put it into ice cubes, like what you were saying. So I have like a vegetable chicken soup in ice cubes pureed and a beef stew pureed. And so every time he comes over now, we'll add boiling water and then drop a couple of those ice cubes in it. And so it's actually healthy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we got off on a little tangent.
Yeah, sorry.
Gabe, what's your eat of the week?
Eat of the week for me has to definitely be a cheesesteak. I actually, first time ever, made a cheesesteak, and I'm talking full cheesesteak. We've got the cooked meat, we've got the sauteed onions, bell peppers, we've got the cheese whiz. Like I really did it up. Did a smoked Gouda on the bottom, nice toasted bun from Lee's Sandwiches, delicious made baguettes. And I actually did a blend of sliced pork and sliced beef to kind of diversify, give a little bit of extra flavor with the fat from the pork. And I have to tell you, it had to have been the sandwich for me. Like that was the sandwich. I was pretty happy with it.
That sounds like the eat of the week. Like it's not just the eat of the week.
Yeah.
That sounds really good.
Really good.
Mine has to be, just because I'm so proud of what we did. We made these buffalo chicken paninis. And not proud of the buffalo chicken panini itself. I mean, it was good. But sometimes when I cook, I just have a lot left over. And I had enough chicken because we cooked for a little bit of a party and totally overestimated it, made way too much chicken. But I was able to repurpose that chicken in 3 different other types of meals.
Nice.
And, it turned into a little bit of a meal prep where I made a little sauce that I reduced down that I ate with just the chicken. And so I think that's my eat of the week. It was just
the buffalo chicken.
The buffalo chicken, the buffalo chicken pizza that it turned into, the stuffed bell peppers that it turned into.
That's really cool.
My eat of the week was my intelligence.
There you go.
All right. So food trends for 2019. What are we seeing?
So I feel like the biggest thing that we are seeing, and it started in 2018, I think it's going to carry over and become bigger in 2019, is people genuinely wanting to get healthier. So one thing that I just tried myself for the first time was the plant-based protein, the burgers. What is
the Impossible Burger?
Impossible Burgers. Or the Beyond Burgers.
Yeah. Yes. And I was really skeptical. I wasn't sure if I was really going to like it, but I was pleasantly surprised. The burger was really good. Have y'all tried that?
Oh yeah, I've had the Beyond Burger. I actually purchased them from Whole Foods and cooked them up myself. And I have to say, at the time I was pescatarian and I was constantly looking for something to supplement my lack of protein that I was having, whether that was from chicken, beef, or fish. And I stumbled upon the Beyond Burger and I cooked it up and tried it. And I have to say, the textural difference from meat is not that far off. Flavor wise, I think it was superior. It's not being clouded by as much fat content or fat ratio as the regular burgers are. It's much leaner, but it has a much cleaner and more pronounced flavor. So I would have to say that I'm definitely on the bandwagon for the soy supplement. For
The
protein.
bandwagon.
Yeah.
The bandwagon, absolutely.
The thing that I was surprised to find out was the Beyond Meat is mostly made from peas.
Really?
Yeah, pea protein.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's vegetarian, and he swears by this Beyond Meat. I tried it in LA a few years ago.
That's actually where it's based out of.
Oh, look at that. At Umami Burger, and it was their Impossible Burger. And I gotta say, the texture and everything, it was very, very meat-like. If I didn't know that this wasn't meat, I might not have known. It's that close.
Yeah.
It's a pretty amazing product.
Yeah. And I mean, apparently it's better for the environment. It's better for you. So, give it a shot if you haven't tried
I did read something how farmers are... They want the word meat taken out of these products because it's not actually meat.
Right.
So... I don't know what's happening with that, but I did read that somewhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I see. I definitely do find it interesting because at the end of the day, it's not meat, but it's a way for people to connect with the product. So, instead of saying it is a, something like a soy protein supplement or, something like that.
Right, pea protein.
It's part of a vernacular that a lot of people may or may not have. They connect with the words meat or chicken or things like that. So I don't necessarily find an issue with it as long as they're not saying it is chicken, verbatim chicken. It's, a lot of places will put CHICK and then an apostrophe and an N so that it's not actually chicken.
As long as they put air quotes around meat.
Exactly. Something to differentiate it from the actual meat that's on the shelves.
Yeah. My marketing brain is now thinking of like little slogans for this. It's meat, but not actually.
Meat. Is it what's for dinner?
That's a good one. All right, we'll leave it at that. What's another trend?
So staying on the healthy track, non-dairy milk. So I can say for myself, I have started. So I go to Starbucks. My drink used to be a non-fat caramel macchiato with 3 shots of espresso. Now I'm doing almond milk because, as we know, we don't necessarily need dairy in our diets.
With 4 shots of espresso.
Or you don't need 4 shots of espresso either. But I'm gonna do a non-dairy milk. But as we were talking about earlier, now if I'm eating milk and cookies or having a dessert with the side of a glass of milk, I'm definitely going real milk.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a increase in the amount of friends and people that you hear that are saying, "Oh, I just drink almond milk or cashew milk," or there's things that they make milk out of that I wouldn't think would make milk.
Garlic and pea milk made a trend in 2018.
Case in point.
I will definitely tell you, I will not drink garlic. That's a stance of mine. I won't do it. But as far as the almond milk and cashew milk trends go, I'm definitely on the bandwagon for it. I think it has a place. As it was said earlier, I am that person that if I'm going to create a product with it, so I'm going to cook with it or I'm going to dip a cookie in it, you can't have any supplement for the
real
original,
thing.
The original milk. But as far as drinking something, supplementing it, and not putting too much dairy in your diet, I think that almond milk and cashew milk have a place for that. Eating it with cereal, protein shakes, or anything like that.
Yeah, or even coconut milk.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of coconut milk.
I love coconut milk. In cooking.
That's what I was going to say.
Milk.
I've substituted heavy whipping cream with coconut milk in my creamy poblano soup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the coconut milk was on point with that.
I don't know if I'd have coconut milk with my cereal, but
definitely
in a curry.
Yeah, definitely gonna have it with a bowl of cereal. But as far as making a curry, you can't go wrong with it.
Right, absolutely. Oh, curry, love it. All right, so staying on the healthy track, gut health.
All of these are healthy. A lot of the trends
not,
that you
not all
tie
of
in, people are just getting more health conscious and more aware of what they're putting in their
one
bodies.
One of the 2019 predictions, cheese tea. I don't know if I'd call that healthy.
It depends on what cheese and what kind of tea.
Yeah, and it really depends on it's pretty much
We'll come back to that one. So gut health and gut friendly
Kombucha.
foods. Kombucha, absolutely. And kombucha is going to start actually showing up in more unexpected areas like salad dressings.
I can see that.
See,
Yeah.
I honestly, I know that, you'd referenced it earlier that they've had kombuchas on tap. I would not be surprised if they try to open something, like bars based on kombucha or gut healthy foods.
Yeah.
Some breweries do have kombucha on tap.
Really?
And Neighborhood Jam, right on Penn and 150th, has kombucha on tap.
That is amazing.
That is the first place I knew about. My coworker and other podcast host, Talking Real, shameless plug, where we talk about real estate, so not food. He was a huge fan of kombucha and still probably is, but he stays very current with his health trends and tries to be as healthy as he can because he does a lot of jiu-jitsu and clean eating, and he did Whole30 a bunch of times. So when it comes to these food trends, I would listen to him hands down.
Yeah. And then also for the gut health and gut friendly food, fermenting. So kimchi, sauerkraut, pickled things. That's going to be, I guess, I feel like it started to be a trend in 2018. So it's just going to carry on in 2019. I started pickling. My dad has a huge garden. So both of my parents actually have gardens. And I got on a kick with doing these habanero pickles and radishes and onions and garlic with habaneros and the vinegar. Oh my gosh, so good!
I love
See,
a spicy pickle.
Oh yeah, definitely a fan.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I have done a little bit more pickling, and I started to incorporate my menus with pickled items. So one thing that I did that
so
a lot of
good.
people would not have expected is that I did a quick pickle on grapes. So
I've never had pickled grapes.
yeah, you can do those either in the mason jar or a vacuum sealer. Pickled grapes, it's very interesting because they're
What do you
innately
put it
sweet.
on? Salad.
I will either use them with salads. I'll contrast them with a very rich meat, so it cuts through the richness of the meat, or anything like that. Anything that you have that would be overly rich, you add that amount of acidity and slight sweetness, so it brings it together. But it cuts it. It's very beautiful.
Wow.
Interesting. So when you say quick pickle, I've seen this word used a lot. How quick are we talking?
So quick pickles, I would say is anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. Okay. So there's a lot of cooking competitions or cooking shows you may have seen like Chopped, where they say, "Oh, I did a quick pickle of carrot," meaning that they did a very thin sliced carrot that they had in a brine solution or a vinegar-based solution that was heated, and they will allow that to either be vacuum sealed or put in a jar until it starts to lose some of its structural integrity and take in some of the flavors of the liquid.
Okay.
And I guess the key to quickening that pickling process is cutting these really fine and making smaller pieces.
Absolutely.
More surface area, blah, 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 blah.
Absolutely.
Math.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Math. Yeah. So another 2019 food trend that we're going to start to see is sea snacks. So snacks from the sea. So
Not the alphabet.
no, like seaweed.
Today we're discussing the letter C.
I was thinking cookies, chips,
C is for cookie.
cheese.
So some of these examples include seaweed strips, seaweed butter, kelp noodles. And I know Gabe was talking earlier about, tell us what you were talking about with the Japan, and this is...
Absolutely. So the thing that I found interesting about this trend is that this trend of going to the sea for snack foods or dried items has always been popularized in Asia. Anything from shrimp crackers to the nori chips or anything like that has been very popular in Asia for a long time.
Right.
So it's not necessarily that it's becoming, this new trend that nobody has thought to do. It's rediscovering these old techniques or these old recipes that have been used for anywhere from decades to hundreds of years in Asia.
Right.
And we're just repurposing them and bringing them over to states that now know about them. So it's not necessarily a new idea. It's just, presenting it in a new way.
Right.
That's interesting because that also makes me think about this new trend of Pacific Rim flavors coming in everywhere. So that's flavors from the Asia Pacific to Hawaii. And, whenever I think of Hawaii, I think of pineapples.
Yeah, I love pineapples
Definitely
so much.
fan.
I mean, I like pineapples on pizza.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
definite.
No.
Definite.
Yes,
No.
so
You have
good.
to understand. And here's the thing: I am a chef. I'm a trained chef, and a lot of chefs don't like that. But here's where I get you.
Before you get started,
Go for it.
Would you tell Gordon Ramsay you like pineapple on pizza?
I would take it to my grave. But it's the flavor contrast: the salty, the sweet, the acidic. Depending on what you put on it, the bitter. So to me, it's just a contrasting flavor. I'm not seeing it as, oh, it's a fruit. I'm seeing it as it's an ingredient that can provide a subtle sweetness to an otherwise savory dish.
I can see the pineapple flavor on pizza. I just don't like chunks of pineapple on
I
pizza.
would put pineapple in anything.
Well, to that degree, you can always cut it how you want. You
Yeah.
know, if it's a shape thing, we can make that work.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let you try and convert me on pineapple on pizza.
I can make it happen.
yeah.
I got this.
The next big trend we're seeing is people wanting to eat at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the big thing there is saving money and eating healthier.
Just don't put pineapple on your pizza. I know it's easy. You chop up a pineapple, put it on a piece of bread. Don't do it.
So back to eating at home. So, a big thing is of course, being healthy, saving money, but also the convenience and finding convenient ways to eat at home.
Yeah.
So a big trend is sheet pan suppers. So using one pan to bake your vegetables and chicken, put your seasoning on it, and very fast and easy cleanup. So it's great for those midweek dinners.
Yeah, and like when you're busy, you throw everything in the pan.
Yeah.
Put it in the oven.
Absolutely.
Good to go.
Yeah, and I definitely see where it has its place. If you're, a working parent or you're a very busy person and you just want something that's home cooked, that's not going to take you forever and you're not going to have to clean up and it's not much of a hassle, absolutely. For me, and honestly, it's probably a chef thing, but I think that every ingredient should be showcased in its own way. So
not putting one seasoning on everything.
Exactly, not putting one seasoning on everything, not throwing everything in one heat vessel. I think that showcasing ingredients or cooking them at different times allows them to be more vibrant and allow to showcase their flavor profiles.
It also takes longer, and if you're a working mom,
absolutely,
then.
But I can see that, different temperatures, different ways to cook things.
Right.
But I think people are moving more towards this trend of home eating because, one, like you said, is cheaper. Two, less time because you can run some errands while this is in the oven.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Actually, you shouldn't leave the oven unattended.
Well,
but
that's
if
why
you
they
get-
have timers.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you feel like you know what you're doing, then
Yeah. If this is
you
your
trust
first
your
time
oven and
using an
yourself.
oven,
Yeah.
please take care. But if you've used an oven in your life, you should have a good judgment of how it works.
Absolutely.
And I think most importantly, people know what they're putting in their bodies.
Yeah.
So as much as you can trust the label, let's put it that way.
True.
So, you're trying to eat healthier, you're eating cleaner, and this is a good way to do that. Another thing that's really propagating this and really helping people do it is the home delivery kits.
Absolutely.
The home meal kits.
Yeah.
There's so
I'm a
many of
fan.
them. There's so many of them. I've actually personally never tried one
Neither have I.
because my thinking is if I want to make it, I can. Not saying I'm a chef by any means, but if I'm like, oh, I want shrimp tacos, I'll go get shrimp and I'll make tacos.
No,
Absolutely.
and the thing about that is I can cook and I love to cook, but they take the and this is going to sound like an ad. We're not getting paid by any of these people.
But if anyone of you want to,
Absolutely.
we are
feel
totally
free.
open for it.
Feel free.
But they
We'll
give you
take sponsorships.
Please
more
email.
options.
okcfoodcast@gmail.com.
Oh goodness.
No, really, that email works. Email us.
They give you options that you wouldn't necessarily think to make yourself. So I know I have my tried and true go-to dinners. Every now and then I'll try something brand new, but for the most part I have my meals that I always cook. Doing HelloFresh or Home Chef, they give me more options of things that I wouldn't necessarily come up with on my own. and
see that.
giving you the exact amount of ingredients that you need. I can't tell you how many celery stalks I end up wasting because I need like 2.
Or how much chicken you'll need for a buffalo chicken sandwiches.
True, true. Yeah, so I think it's a great thing. And if you haven't tried the home delivery boxes, I say give them a shot. But don't pay full price for your first one. They do have discounts out there.
Yeah, if you can
for
find
sure.
them, take advantage of them.
That's
sure.
true. That's true. I can definitely see the convenience factor of all of that.
Oh, absolutely. And the beauty of those places is that a lot of them advertise that they are chef constructed recipes.
Yeah.
Like Blue Apron, during my season of MasterChef, we actually did a partnership with them where recipes we formulated in the moment and then went back and wrote down. If it was a winning dish, they would send it out as a Blue Box recipe,
That's
Blue Apron recipe.
so
And I thought that was
cool.
pretty awesome. Yeah,
That is super cool.
Really cool. Did you win any of those?
I did not.
Man, putting him on the spot.
Sorry.
But I did make top 3 in 1, so I felt good about
Yeah,
that one. You know.
you should feel good about that. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Oh no, you're all
I wanted to try that box. So, those are just a handful of the 2019 food trends we're going to see. Something else that I think is going to be really interesting is Sally, the salad robot
Sally.
that will prepare your salad in airports or hospitals. And it's actually going to be a robot that puts a salad together for you. And it's supposed to be fresh ingredients, but I am interested to see Sally.
That
in
is
2019.
interesting. I mean, it'd be. I don't know if I'd try it.
I think I would.
I think I would pay money to see what it puts out, but I'm not sure I would ingest it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
I bet it's going to be fresh.
You know, if they post a cleaning schedule of the machine, if I see the methodology,
Is this a
and how they clean it, well, you know what? If I'm going to consume it, I want to know what's going on. You know, that's one thing that I think is different from things that are run by robots and things that are run by humans.
True.
Is that, there is a certain integrity that's imposed on certain people when it comes to food and food production versus a program that may or may not skip over something depending on who programmed it. So, I'm a little bit ambivalent about that.
That's true. And how does that robot know how good an ingredient is?
Exactly.
Right? You can't tell that unless you
I
have.
think they're supposed to be like stocking it multiple times a day.
Well,
so it's the humans.
But stocking frequently doesn't necessarily, say, hey, you're stocking poor quality or you're stocking great quality. So what are they doing to differentiate themselves from people or other machines that may not be able to make that distinction?
It's going to be interesting at how transparent these machines are.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's going to make or break it. If you cannot see any of this until a box comes out,
It's going to be a little sketchy.
you might be like, what's happening back there? But if you can see everything and it looks super clean,
Yeah.
you might be more inclined to try it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
And maybe the dressing will have kombucha in it.
and maybe you'll have to select your option and it'll put it out in this little cup that you drizzle on
Yeah.
yourself.
Now,
Dressing on the side, please.
Yeah, will it do that like a soda fountain? Will it be squeeze bottles that it picks up? Like I am interested to see that.
Does it have unlimited
I
refills?
imagine,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I picture like 2 robot hands like holding the bowl and putting it in front of like a thing that's going to squeeze out dressing on top of the salad.
Only time will
Sounds
tell.
appetizing.
Yep. So those are the 2019 kind of the food forecast.
The food forecast.
Yeah.
I do think we need to bring this back to Oklahoma because
Yeah.
obviously we're the OKC Foodcast and we live and breathe Oklahoma City. So do you guys see any trends in the food world in Oklahoma?
I would definitely say, as far as the culinary scene in Oklahoma stands right now, we're much more open than we used to be. It used to be more, onion burgers, steaks, and diner food.
Nothing
everything's-
wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with it.
Nothing
Absolutely.
wrong with it.
Nothing wrong. It's the classics. Trust
Yeah.
me, it's what I was born and raised on. But we're starting to see our palates expand. We're seeing ramen shops pop up. We're seeing different pizza eateries. We're seeing different craft breweries. Like we're seeing things that normally you'd have to go and venture out of the state to find and experience.
Poke bowls.
Poke bowls.
Yeah.
Where are you
absolutely.
getting this fresh fish? No, just kidding.
That is a good question. Now,
That is a good
we're a
question.
landlocked state and we have these fish dishes, so it's
right.
a little, yeah.
I mean,
But,
I
mean-
feel like they probably get deliveries.
Oh, I'm sure
daily.
they do.
Wouldn't care.
I'm sure they do.
Hopefully.
And then there's like vegan loaded bowls, like loaded bowl, right?
Right.
It's-
Absolutely.
There's just so much of an expansion and so much experimentation being done with food in Oklahoma by local owners that is just amazing, and that food is really, really good.
It is. I mean, I'm excited to see the direction Oklahoma City is going.
And something new that I've been seeing popping up has been fusions.
Oh
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, like just different intermingling of things that you might not think of.
Especially also in food trucks.
Oh yes, most definitely. Like Blue Garden, the food
Yeah.
trucks they have out there.
Yeah.
You know, they're exposing people to a new type of food. And you know, in the culinary world, the term fusion has been, I guess, quote unquote, dead for the past couple of years. But you're seeing a great resurgence in a state like Oklahoma.
Right.
You know, where we're here and we're bringing back something that is considered dead. We're breathing life into something and making it our own.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. It's an exciting time to be in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and there are new things opening up every time. Like one of my friends actually is opening up Riviere Modern Banh Mi, and it's a twist on the traditional banh mi.
Oh, nice.
Definitely interesting.
I wonder,
And
when are they opening?
that is a good question. He has told me a couple of times. I think it's later this year, like towards the first half of this year. And
Okay.
obviously, you know, with construction and all that stuff, who knows
Right.
when that happens. But it is going to be in Midtown.
Ooh,
Okay,
great
cool.
district for that. A lot of up and coming restaurants, very high foot traffic. You've got the Blue Garden out there. You know, that's a fantastic place to open a restaurant. So that'd be nice to see.
Yeah, I'm excited. So
Cool. Keep us updated.
yeah, we'll
Go
do.
to the
Maybe we'll
grand
have him
opening.
on. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll have him on.
That'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
There we go.
that would
Yeah.
be fun.
So if you're
Very
listening
cool.
to this, James, you're coming on the podcast.
Cool.
Definitely got to see what he's got. Might have to put out a banh mi battle.
Ooh.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. We'll be the judges, Nabil.
Maybe he'll do like a little chef celebrity part of his menu.
That'd be interesting.
Cool.
We'll talk it over. Royalty rights.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for the OKC Foodcast. You can find us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. We're also on Pinterest at OKC Foodcast. If you have an idea for an upcoming episode, feel free to email us at okcfoodcast@gmail.com. And thank you again, Gabe, for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
For sure. We can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, and if you have any comments, thoughts, something you disagree with, something you agree with, send them our way. We'd love to talk those out on air, not in a battle.
Good point.
And until next time, eat well and be happy.